All right, so basically we're talking about our alts that we played in 10.0, what we liked, what we didn't like.
Just
Uh,
characters or alts?
um, what do you consider the difference? I guess
Well,
characters, because your
I
main
see
is
you have a
included.
main slot, so
Yeah,
we'll go with all of them.
right, fair enough. So we're going to talk about all of our characters um, and kind of where they slot in based on those categories coming into 10.1. I think we already know who your main's going to be, right?
Yeah, that resto druid. Now one interesting predicament that I found myself in is as you know, our raid group sort of disappeared, and with a challenging rating schedule or rating availability, I should say. I'm looking into having to pug most of this tier, or I can join a group and be a part-time healer, and that is kind of difficult. So there's a good possibility I might be rating as feral or balance and doing Mythic Plus as resto.
Yeah, I was gonna say like most raid teams that are actually even half decent usually have a set amount of raiders, so it's easier to fill as a DPS or a fixed amount of healers and tanks, right? Their core is kind of always there. It's easier to jump in and out as DPS.
Yep, the one other side I would say is it's much easier to pug as a healer, but
That's true.
it's very the difference in pugging Mythic Plus and pugging a raid. Uh, like in a pug, they want to see that you've already killed the boss that they're working on, and if you haven't, it's that much harder. But it all comes out in the wash. We'll get AOTC. It's fine.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess there's a lot of benefit to playing Druid. You get your main resto, which is your favorite, and then you kind of have a ton of options. Do you think you're gonna go
Yeah,
feral or boomcan or just kind of whatever's best?
I think whichever one's easier and does the most damage. So I would probably say Boomkin for raid, just because you don't have to deal with melee mechanics.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. I think, well, for my main, I'm going to stick with the same. It's going to be my elemental shaman.
I was hoping you'd say you'd go with something that had a health bar.
Uh, bad news. I will continue to be squishy. That's
You know what's going to happen is this tier, it's going to be some crazy cloth only build is going to be the main damage spot for elemental shaman, and I'm going to have to deal with that.
well, see, I've kind of set myself up with a bunch of casual guilds that I can jump in and out of for raiding as necessary because of, schedule availability again.
Yeah.
Um, DPS is just an easy way to fill, like I said. And I like Elemental. I'm not trying to be world first. Actually, the tier set looks kind of fun, even though they nerfed it again. Ugh.
Dang.
Yeah, they nerfed how often it'll happen by 10 seconds, which is, what, 25% less often?
I don't know what any of the tier sets do. I know I looked up the tier set for Resto Druid when they first launched it, and I thought, man, that sounds really broken. And then I don't think they've nerfed it much. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But I don't, we're not running at a level where it really matters what you're playing.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So you kind of have the luxury of being able to ignore some of that stuff. Like whatever the set is, I'm going to be a Resto Druid.
On that note, that's going to afford us some opportunity to get some alts in. Do you think you're going to have time for many to be decently geared?
I'd say probably one or two, because I
Yeah.
think where am I at right now? I got the Demon Hunter at 413 ish, and then I got the Hunter at 400, and then the Warrior I haven't played in 2 months. So
So I guess those two, Demon Hunter and Hunter, are you going to continue with those ones as your good alts, or are you kind of sick of them? What do you think of them from 10.0?
I really like the Demon Hunter. I understand the damage patterns and stuff.
Do you think it's still going to
And
be
like,
considered a good alt for you, or are you going to move on from that?
yeah, I'll probably play it just because I've got the most familiarity with it. But it's it'd be nice if I had any interest in tanking on it, or if I knew how to tank on it, because being able to flex into a tanking role would be nice.
That's true.
And then I could just kind of forget about the warrior.
Just no experience with the tanking on it at all
Yeah, no,
currently.
I don't know how it works.
Fair enough.
Some ability called Spirit Bomb. That's all I know. I heal them. They're either immortal or they're really pain in the butt to heal. There's really no in between.
Fair, fair.
And I don't want to be the guy that's impossible to heal.
Yeah, yeah. So what about the hunter?
A hunter is kind of a meme. Um, just turn your brain off and hit the buttons. But it's actually
Especially as
like,
BM.
yeah, it's pretty okay to be perfectly honest. It's not the worst thing. It's not my favorite thing. So he might see some play. I'd say probably the same. He'd be like a
Like just
second tier alt.
like a basic alt, not a good alt, not one you're actually planning to keep up on.
Yeah, like that demon hunter 413 and like 2600 ish IO.
Yeah.
Like that's what most people hit with their mains. I would say it's a good deal above what most people hit with their mains. So I feel like he had a good run of it. I don't envision the hunter ever doing that unless they're crazy overpowered, or I can't imagine it.
So I was kind of thinking about it, and I know my main goals for next raid tier are obviously AOTC somehow, and probably 2500 because that's usually where the good rewards end, right?
Yep,
Um,
20s for sure.
yeah, but like for a good alt, I'm thinking my good alts at least gotta hit 2200 for it to be considered like a good alt for myself.
Yeah, you definitely got to hit. I don't even know what my hunter is. No idea. This will be exciting.
Yeah. So for me, I played, one of my main alts this last expansion was the mage. Got up there pretty good. Um, Honestly, I kind of want to keep running it. I really enjoy fire. The problem I'm running into is I play a lot of casters. And when you play casters, it's just kind of more of the same.
Yeah,
Um,
Age at least lets you sneak in with the lust as a
yeah.
cast.
So like I'm probably gonna keep my mage as a main alt. Hopefully fire, but like if arcane's any good, it's not off the table.
Nope, it's gonna be all frost all the
I
time.
played a bit of frost and I didn't hate it. It was kind of stupid easy, so that was nice.
So the hunter's at 1945 mythic plus score at the moment. So
Not bad.
like my highest Algathar Academy is a two-chested 10 tyrannical. So clearly I haven't put any effort into this, other than just getting the weekly chests out of Shadow Moon and stuff.
Yeah. Are there any classes that you played and just do not give a crap about playing anymore?
So I had a I had a max level not mage, shaman at the end of BFA, and I can't imagine ever logging back in to play it. It's just
Of
not
course, of
compelling.
course.
Like I don't know if it's just the resto gameplay didn't jive with what I was used to. It wasn't for me, and the DPS specs don't do anything for me. I know that's your jam. I know a lot of people enjoy it, but
Yeah, yeah.
I just do not care about shaman.
No, that's fair.
And they have
I
like,
can see that with a lot of
and I'm not
classes.
disparaging them. The resto shaman have a lot of utility. They got the soul link, they got the interrupts, they got, they do a crazy amount of damage and stuff. But it's just
There always seems to be a spot for them. It's just not everyone's cup of tea.
yeah, and they always do good in the rating because of the soul link totem and stuff.
How do you feel about Death Knights? Did you play one at all?
So I had a he was 475 or whatever the max level gearing in BFA as a
Right.
tank,
I
and I
remember you
enjoyed
thoroughly
that.
enjoyed it.
Yes, and then with a lot of alts died just because Shadowlands was so un-alt friendly.
That's true.
So I'd like to level him up, but he doesn't qualify for time walking dungeons, and I'm not doing any more Shadowlands quests, so he's kind of stuck at 55 right now.
So it's one that you liked, but you're just kind of stuck there.
Yes, he'd probably be 70 if he had not been level 55, if that makes any sense.
So like a wish I had time for.
Yeah, 100%.
That's exactly where DK falls for me usually. It's always like, oh man, I kind of want to play that, and then I just end up not.
Yeah, they always look really interesting, and then you play them, and you're like, well, this is kind of like harder than it looks.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So we
have a
both had warrior alts. Why don't we look at
yeah.
warriors? And I think they kind of fizzled in the same way.
Well, I mean, the problem is we know tanks,
Yeah,
and
we do know tanks. That helps.
I'm not particularly interested in warrior DPS. I'm not opposed, but I'm just not interested in it at the moment. I like Prot Warrior a lot, and it was really strong. Um, so it just kind of fizzled because we needed healers or DPS more than we needed tanks.
Yeah. To me, like, even though I had it as an alt in the last one, or in this current one, however you want to look at it, it's probably going to fall into the wish I had time for, just because I really do enjoy playing Prot. I don't hate the DPS specs. Like, swinging a big weapon's always a good time,
Yeah.
but I don't see being able to dump enough time into it.
One of the big problems I have is flexing over to like Fury. I probably would never do arms, but going over to Fury, it's so whack-a-mole gameplay. Just hit the button that lights up that
We're
it's
very
just not that.
opposite.
So I just that's not that interesting to me. And tanking's obviously a lot of work and it's fun, but yeah, the whack-a-mole gameplay, I'm over it.
Gonna play into
So
it at all, or think it's a wish I had time for you as well?
it's a wish I had time for, but it could very easily become a good alt if circumstances dictate. So
That's fair. That's fair. Let's go. Let's go with something I don't think either of us has, an evoker. Do you have any interest
Evoker.
in the evoker?
I wish I put that under wish I had time for, but it's burgeoning on could not care less.
Yeah.
Mine's like 63 or 64, and
Don't they
like I've
start
done
at 58 or something?
yeah, yeah, and
Whew.
but I've like I'm trying to level as the preservation and do all that,
Mm.
and then I changed it and I completely lost everything I'd learned about it, even though once again not max level.
I think I
But
heard their
then,
tier set's looking really good.
well, one of the big problems they have is they're kind of got the opposite problem of Fury Warrior. They're like a
You
one
know what?
button DPS.
If you're burgeoning on could not care any less, I am could not care any less about evokers.
I'd like to have one, not enough to level one up. I got 6 levels. I got 12 weeks of time walking and plus 50% experience gain. I just can't get
Sure.
it leveled up. It probably deserves to be in there.
Sure, sure. Um, let's see what we got. Do you have anything else on there that's looking at like it could be a good alt?
Warlock could be an alt.
I've got Warlock at alt also.
Mine isn't
For me
leveled up.
again, it's the same thing. Like it's another caster. Do I need another caster? You know,
Mine's got green fire and a cool title.
mine has green fire and got cheesed out of a cool title.
Yeah. Well, we'll just go equip our coolest titles and see who comes out with the Warlock one. Anyways,
I did just get
this
Keymaster.
nice.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I the Warlock always has a special place in my heart, and
It always has at least one good spec, which makes it
yes,
fun to play.
and it's a tanky caster, and you bring a tremendous amount of utility, so it's always everybody always wants a Warlock. Problem being,
It's true.
like I enjoy Affliction the most, but I enjoy Affliction like I enjoy Resto Druid. Let me throw up some dots and give me a nuke, and that's not how Warlock plays anymore, unfortunately.
This is accurate. Well, let's go down the list here some more. We both have priests. How you feeling about your
Uh,
priest?
I love Stewis.
Big cow priest.
That's my boy. However, at the moment, not that interested. I was interested in Shadowlands, but once again, you had um, the Shadowlands alt problem, and I just didn't have
True. Like
the gumption to go grind it out.
I at least mained it for a little while, and I mained Shadow, which was
When it was
actually
terrible.
pretty good. Like for single target, it was fantastic. For anything else, it was hot garbage, just steaming piles.
Yeah.
But currently, like I know Shadow's going through another rework, and I just do not give a crap about Shadow. If I was going to play it, it would be Discipline. I just think there's other healers I'm more interested in playing if I was going to play something.
Yeah, discipline was always kind of the, it's neat. You got the shields, and in raid discipline, I'm sure is fantastic. But I
Yeah.
don't spend that much time raiding anymore. It's mostly Mythic Plus, and discipline and Mythic Plus.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's great. I tried it one time, and
As
it
much as
was
I'd like to put it in Wish I Had Time for, I think I just don't care about it anymore.
yeah. I wish it was better. Maybe that should be a column. Wish this was more fun.
If it's no
Holy
fun,
looked
can't care.
interesting. Holy looked interesting in the last season of Shadowlands, and the first season of whatever we're in now, Dragonflight,
Dragonflight. Yeah.
Dragonlands. But it's just not enough to break me off the rest of Druid.
I leveled it. I played a bit of disc, and I just don't care.
Well, the problem is back in the day it was very unique. This is the healer. You did damage to heal, and now
They've given damage to
every
other
healer has.
one. Like everyone has to do it basically.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, that's the way the game's going. I don't like it. I prefer to just cast healing spells, but that's not where we're at.
None of these other ones are going to fit into good alt for you, are they? Monk, Pally, Rogue.
No, I don't.
Think you're
I
just
think
going to
a
have one
good.
good alt? You're satisfied with that?
Yeah, I don't think I'm just not gonna have the time to. I mean, it's the summer. I'm available like 2 nights a week instead of 7.
As
So
we found out with our attempt at finding a raid schedule that's going to work.
yeah, I was kind of looking at it and I signed up, and now it's like, okay, I can play Tuesdays for 4 hours and Sunday evenings for a bit, and that's it.
Yeah. Well,
Monk, I'm always amazed at people that can play Monk really well and they make it look fun and interesting. And then I leveled a Monk in Shadowlands and played it, and it was neither fun nor interesting, nor was I good at it.
what did you play it as?
The melee DPS,
Okay, Windwalker, I think. Yeah.
sure.
Like,
Um,
I played it
I
a bit
think the
too. It
mechanic
was
was
good.
unique. Like you keep it up by not using the same ability twice in a row. Like that's pretty interesting, but you kind of get back into, hey, what button didn't I hit last, and hit the one that lights up or isn't lit up, I guess.
So for me, I've got Monk sitting in alt because I think that's going to be my tank alt for 10-1.
I've heard good things about Brewmaster. I don't enjoy healing them because at a certain point they run out of stuff and
Mm-hmm.
just start taking like double damage. And I don't know if it's like stagger running out. Like I don't know anything about them, but they
Yeah,
do a
it's
tremendous amount of damage.
oh yeah, I've noticed that and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So I think it's going to be an alt for me. It's going to be my tank alt for the next season.
Nice.
Yeah.
Not druid.
Nope. No. I still haven't even leveled my druid.
You should. It's
I
fun.
I agree. I like druids. I like cat. Bear's a
You
little
gotta.
boring. Don't really care about Resto or Boomkin, but I really like cat.
Yeah, Boomkin kind of sucks.
Paladin. They just got that rework. Rhet's pretty strong right now.
Couldn't care less. I enjoy. Obviously, Bob is a fantastic pally tank, and he makes it look crazy overpowered.
Yep.
And then at a certain point this season, all pally tanks became overpowered. And it was just like everyone you ran with was like Bob, which was fantastic. But I don't know anything they're talking about. Only thing I know is they got Blessing of Freedom, and they have a certain amount of bubbles.
True.
And like I don't like a good pally tank takes 0 damage and also out heals you. It's crazy.
Well, here's the funny thing for me. Pally is probably going to be my healer alt, like my main healer alt for this coming season. But it probably still fits in could not care less. Like
Yeah.
I really enjoy the way paladins heal. Um, just with the way my raid schedule is set up and how I have to fit into things, I just don't feel like I have the time to focus on a healer. And I'm actually gonna have two good alts that I'm gonna try to focus on along with my main.
Was this an X angle?
An X angle.
X.
Uh
EKS.
huh. Uh huh. Yes, it is.
Ah,
Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah. So that's what it's gonna look like for me. I'm gonna be maining my shaman, and my good alts are gonna be my mage and my rogue. Not gonna lie, my mage is mostly a good alt because the only way I can get the ultimate power potion is from the raid, so my mage has to be good enough to raid to get that, at which point my mage might fall down into alt.
I
Don't tell my
I
raid
like
teams that.
so I would actually started leveling a Tauren rogue or a High Mountain Tauren rogue, I believe.
Oh, great
I
choice.
got up to like level 40, and then I went and watched some level 60 rogue gameplay,
Yeah.
all whack a mole. I was like, all right, I'm out.
Um,
And I like that's
yeah,
crazy because I
a
already
little
had
bit.
a level 50 alt or whatever.
Assassination has always been really fun to me. It's just not good right now, but apparently it might be good in 10.1.
Yeah,
I've always really liked subtlety. I never really cared about combat, aka outlaw, whatever you want to call it.
yeah,
But I played a little bit here when I first capped out, and it was fine. I didn't hate it. So
yeah. And
knowing that
rogues,
rogues are gonna have at least one good spec, I'm happy to play whatever spec that is.
yeah, it's very rare that their class is just completely in the dumpster.
Mm.
Except for monks, they're usually just need to be deleted.
Well, they're usually like either horribly overtuned, so they get like ridiculous nerfs, and then they're way undertuned.
Yeah, because remember back in at
Even
the
when
end of
there's,
BFA,
yeah, they were
they had
super strong, just
they were
crushing M
solo
plus.
healing, and they were solo healing the Zoth on Mythic
Oh yeah,
at the end of BFA because of that goofy haste thing or whatever. And I didn't know how it works. I still don't, but good for them. Everybody that plays monk like die hard plays monk.
yeah.
It's just
Well,
not for me. But yeah, rogue. I'm happy with rogue.
yeah.
It's always fun to have the
Plus a
They got a
cow
lot of
rogue,
survive.
fantastic.
Well, they got the survivability. They got the shroud. They have you can stealth, which is nice. You
Yeah,
can zap,
they're
blind. There's
desirable.
you got all kinds of CC. So I mean, they bring a lot to the table, and they do good damage.
And I kind of feel like most rogues, like all the good rogues, just don't pug. Everyone wants a rogue on their team because you almost never see rogues pugging in the LFG.
Yeah, yeah. It's now that you mention that, I don't know how many I've run with
Yeah, it's
this.
very
This
few. It's weird.
cool.
Yeah. Closing thoughts on your mains alts?
I hope Resto Druid's good because I'm going to have to play a lot of it.
Yeah, yeah. I hope it's extra good because it has to keep me alive on my super squishy
I
elemental shaman.
I hope that they break elemental and you can't even spec into it.
Ugh.
We can move that rogue up.
Yeah, maybe. Or the mage. Both are good.
Yeah,
See,
you know what?
you know
Demon
what?
Hunter
Well, like we
will see.
talked about, right? Like just pick a flavor of the month class for one of my alts. Mage and rogue. One of them's gonna hit, right? Either
You know
that
what?
or I just nerfed the mage and rogue again.
You know what? Don't level a druid.
All right, well, I guess that's our tier list for mains and alts from 10.0 going into 10.1. Should be fun.
Yeehaw.